welcome Easy Honey to our podcast.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
We'll start on this side this time. I'm Webster. I play bass in Easy Honey.
And what is your spirit animal?
A dolphin today.
Okay.
Tomorrow, who knows?
Yeah.
But I noticed I was wearing a lot of blue today.
Okay. That does channel dolphin. Yeah. You got kind of a blow fit going.
Yeah.
Wow fit.
Yeah.
What
Like a wow fit.
A blow fit is a blue outfit.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Did you make that up, or is that
I can't take that credit, but I wish I did. Yeah.
I'm gonna take that credit
Okay.
from now on.
You can have it. Okay, next.
I'm Darby, and I
Darby.
play guitar and sing.
And
Easy
your
Honey.
spirit animal is?
Feeling like a falcon today.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Is there a reason why?
I think it's the red jacket,
Okay.
and I'm feeling a little fiery.
Ooh. I like that.
Wow. Whoa.
That's not what a falcon does. They go, or like,
Where'd that come from?
I don't know. My name's Selby. I play guitar and sing. And my spirit animal is sugar glider today. If you guys are familiar with the small flying squirrels
Yes.
that hang out in your pocket if you have one.
Okay.
If you have a pocket or if you have a small flying squirrel?
Yes, and?
Either way, they're hanging out.
Okay. I've never seen a sugar glider in real life, but if there was one in a pocket, I would definitely love that.
Any animal that comes in a pocket, I'm here for.
Has to be cute, like a teacup pig.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, those are
Mhm.
cute.
Okay, so back to our on the road questions. How do you guys like being on the road? You have your van, right, that you live in.
Mhm.
So what's that like?
It feels like we live in it.
I mean, we spend a lot of time in there, so we pretty much do.
Yeah, that is true.
We spend a lot of time. It's a very fun experience. We meet a lot of characters
Mm-hmm.
along the way. There are days where there's a lot of driving, but we got a pretty good setup. We're in a conversion van, and we have a little trailer, and so we're a little family in a van going around.
Yeah,
Four friends from Tennessee on a never-ending road trip.
that actually sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. We really like to. We kind of started doing this maybe like a month or so into doing it, where it's fun to bring people along who maybe they've come with you before, or maybe they haven't ever done anything like it, because then you kind of like re-see it through their eyes of like, oh, going from place to place is like a really special thing. Maybe for us, like on day 10, we're like, okay, place to place, this is getting kind of old. But then like you reintroduce like that another person to the chemistry of the trip. And I mean, have you ever gone on a road trip and it's all about the makeup of the people and one person, even in a show, like one person can change.
Mm-hmm.
Even if there's 1,000 people there, one person that you see can change the entire show. Maybe you know them, maybe you don't, maybe they're just vibing out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wouldn't y'all agree to that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Is there a place that stands out the most to you so far?
On this tour so
Yeah.
far? Honestly, you were talking about the Midwest earlier. I love the Midwest. I think it's so much fun.
Yeah.
We spent a few days off, and we didn't even play in this town. It's called Manitowoc in Wisconsin.
Okay.
There's this beautiful lighthouse, just like it seems like it belongs in Sweden or something. It's like way out there and very picturesque.
That sounds so cool.
And we spent some quality time out there, and we always have a good time in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
The Midwest for us, he's from Connecticut originally. We're from Tennessee. We met in Tennessee, live in South Carolina. But we really know no one here.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like this subconscious at the shows where, like, if we go play somewhere where, North Carolina, New York, we'll know some people who come to the show. But here, no one, typically.
Which I prefer.
Which is
Really?
preferred because we get to.
It doesn't it's not like I can't play in front of friends or family or something, but I prefer the challenge of trying to win over a whole room.
Oh, yeah.
and just like and having nobody there. And what's been cool this trip is like, or not having no
challenge accepted.
Because nobody knows you yet, so it's open mind.
But at the same time, what's been really cool is just we've had in these random towns, like in Iowa City, we had fans drive 3 hours for the show.
Wow.
And I was just like, okay, amazing.
And then drive to Minneapolis the next night.
Yeah. So it's been encouraging at the same time as, also being a little bit lonely out in the Midwest. It's been good.
Well, where I was going with that is just, I think we get to truly like be ourselves a little bit more because it's just, and we can take the band really wherever we want it because there's no one knows us here. We don't know anyone here. One night, if we want to do the band this way, do it this way. And by the band, I mean like the performance and which songs.
Like how we dress, right?
Yeah, how we dress.
Yeah.
Well, we only have one bag each, so there's
only one bag?
Yeah, so there's limited option. And we pick up stuff on the way.
Okay.
I confirmed last night with the singer of Saving Escape, which is a great band y'all I think should check out, but she's a thrifter. And I bought this jean jacket out in Colorado, and it looks better on Darby, so I let him wear it sometimes. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I should have brought it in here today.
I think where you were going with that is you didn't get ripped off. You confirmed that the price was a fair price that you bought it for in Colorado.
Oh, yeah, that's why
just
I was
to close the loop on that.
That's why I was asking her about it. She's a thrifter, and yeah, it was great.
Okay, so one bag each. How do you like determine the most important things that you're like, this is my ride or die outfit? Is there just one?
Dude, I was just thinking about this. I have this bag, and I mean, it's probably like this big, and I've worn like 3 things the entire trip, which is so sad.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even need that big of a bag.
Oh,
But it's like having the option there, I guess, feels comforting. And it's good for socks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have like...
You always need those.
But see, for y'all wake up and go, y'all see the same people. Well, maybe not the same people. Well, yeah, you go to the classes, so you have to change up your outfit.
Oh, yeah. Can't repeat that.
For us, no one knows us or has seen us, so like, hey, yeah, you got the outfit.
Yeah.
If it's working.
So then on your tour, are there any like crazy stories? Any insider stories that we should know?
Crazy?
Or your favorite memory? Or something like that?
This time around, we have done a lot of, we'll go exploring when we have off days. And that's like the Lighthouse in Manitowoc. Colorado, we found some really beautiful parks. But we'll just bring our guitars, set up, and start playing. And for the purpose of like maybe capturing a cool video, but also just practicing and getting some cool songs in the works acoustically. And that's been a great way to like meet random strangers who are just curious of what is this group doing here with acoustic guitars and playing songs. And that's been really fun. It's taken us to some new faces and new places. And that's always a blast. It's a cool tool to have in the back pocket just when we're bored or need some motivation.
That like when you guys go out and explore like that it helps you become more inspired and help your writing process?
Oh, big time.
Yeah, for sure. Like there was this guy we met in Manitowoc on this walk to the lighthouse. I'm just gonna keep dropping my.
He loves the lighthouse.
We have
to go. He's starring in the sequel to the Lighthouse.
Yeah, I might as well be. But his name's Patrick. He's got these dogs, dog named Diggs and Boo, I think, and they're named after Scottish warriors. And he made this point of like letting us know that.
Yeah.
And then he also told us about how it gets cold up there, and he's like, well. Not if you dress for it. And that was this just like punchline that you have to come back to. So a lot of takeaways, a lot of fuel for like, turning the brain and potentially ending up in some songs.
The strange thing was about it is they were service dogs. They had all the service dog stuff on them. But he'd like go up and pet them and like encourage us to pet them. And it clearly says do not pet.
They're working.
Right? Yeah, I don't know what was going on.
The first time he was like, be careful, they haven't eaten yet. And he kind of chuckled afterwards, which made me wonder if he's like,
what does that mean? They're going to
eat me? But then the next day, he came back the same day, or the next day at the same time, and he encouraged us to pet him.
Okay.
At that point.
Yeah.
There's some fierce dogs.
I imagine.
We went out in Minneapolis to this club that was really crazy. Have y'all ever been out in Minneapolis?
Never.
It was wild.
I have a better story.
Oh, what's your story?
Let's hear it.
Well, it's not so much. It's better than that one, but it's not a brilliant story. But a fun memory was we were playing in Denver on a Thursday, and we just set up this house show in Boulder, which is 30 minutes northwest of Denver, which was, I didn't know. I always had in my mind they were far apart. But we went up there and played, and it was just a raucous time. It was just everyone, when you get people in a room and everyone is in it, the entire performance from start to finish, they're right there with you. It's like getting on a roller coaster. And that makes the band so much fun to play in.
This was the house show. We played a house show, to clarify. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
And when you play, yeah, but I don't know if that was really clear. I don't think it was, but
okay, brothers, it's all right.
Well, I mean, Well, so what did you have to clarify about it? It was in a house. It was cold.
It was well, you said Denver too, so it was a little.
Yeah,
I was a little confused too.
Yeah,
it's okay.
But it's okay. We forgive you.
We get it now.
Sorry, guys.
So do you prefer doing house shows or things like Motor where you're on a stage in front of an audience, or it doesn't really matter?
It really just depends. I mean, we've played on some festival stages that have been really great shows. We've also played on festival stages that are the energy is not as high, maybe from in a crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we've also done. I don't know. It's really just about the energy. And it can happen anywhere. It can happen on a stage. It can happen in a house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you do if the energy's low in the crowd?
You go out into the crowd.
Really?
Create your own energy.
Okay.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
We've talked about
Remember
this.
when we used to have that thing called the hurricane?
Yeah,
we would do at the
that
show?
was sick.
Yeah, we would get everybody dancing in this kind of fiery circle, and it would be the eye of the hurricane, and it would be we'd kind of do a big drop, and it's just it's but yeah, it's
sometimes you do have to start a hurricane.
Yeah,
to get people moving.
The other answer is you kind of just gotta look to each other on stage and spark some energy between yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we do that, I think a lot of the time is we improv, and that really puts us on the edge. I heard this quote recently: living on the edge is typically the best view. It's so corny.
Okay.
But that's kind of how it is a lot of the time.
I can see that on a poster.
Yeah.
Inspirational poster.
Yeah, and it's a climber, and he's on El Cap or something.
There's a beautiful sunset in the background.
Yeah. And it's in a nursing home. But
or a classroom.
Or a classroom, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so when we kind of put ourselves on the edge of the performance, I think that energy's felt in the room, and then everyone's if you're out there playing your song, sometimes if they don't know the song, they're they're playing their song. But then when you're up there and you're oh, these guys are really playing in front of my eyes, that's when people really start looking.
It kind of gets into your heart, and you're they're so happy. I want to be happy too.
Totally.
So then what is it about making music that you love the most?
Did you have an answer?
Yeah, I got one.
Go.
No, actually. I can't think. No, personally, I love the feeling of just writing and catching a wave on an idea and chasing it down and letting it take you where it goes, and then bringing it to the guys and watching it unfold. And here comes Webster with a sneaky selfie.
Sneaky.
But I love that because it's always new. It's you're always chasing this feeling and able to bring your own kind of interpretation and discoveries of your life and yourself and the world into something, which is always really fun.
Yeah. Speaking of waves, you guys have a documentary out on YouTube, Boo Bar.
Yeah.
How was that experience? How did it like help you in your songwriting process or being together as a band?
I think that movie, you know, when you make something and you put a lot of time and work into it and it might not pan out to how you like it, and you're kind of like,
yeah,
that's not how that movie was. I think it panned out. It exceeded expectations.
That's awesome.
And it was because we just had an awesome team. And everyone just did an awesome role. And it just all came together so beautifully. And anyway, the reason I like it a lot is I think it really truly says who we are and where we are. And it just is like, in this weird way, not to put it in business terms, but it's almost like this is who I am. It's not a resume, but it's like, hey, here's a true depiction of who we are. And we were inspired by this other band who had kind of done one. And like, we'd known their music and stuff, but our friends sat us down and like, we watched the thing. We're like, oh, like you took more than 5 minutes to get to know them. Like now you are truly invested in their story. And we just loved making it, you know, even if no one ever watches it, we loved making it. And but we've gotten a lot of good feedback and love on it. So
yeah, from like the viewer audience perspective, it was really cool to see because it's so real and it felt very honest. Yeah, and it definitely like the personalities come through and you can see what everybody's like. It was really cool.
Yeah, and the person, it was funny. Bryn came to our show last night, and I was actually in charge of putting somebody on the guest list, and I had forgotten. But anyway, she saw me and she was like, oh, you know, I recognize him from the movie. Like, I probably need to ask him to tell the door guy. And so I did. But anyway, immediately she had said that she had seen the movie. I was like, well, she kind of knows me already. You know what I mean? Like, I felt that a little bit. I don't know if she did, but.
She said yes.
Thumbs up.
So, you guys did some surfing in that too. And you didn't know how to surf before that? Or you did?
Do any of us really know?
We're all slightly above amateur surfers.
Okay.
And
that's pretty good.
Intermediate, you know.
Yeah.
And we're just on this journey, and I think I said it in the doc, and I really mean it. It's kind of a never-ending journey of getting better at this thing, you know. And it's like music. It's like it's something that you can really dive into and spend time. Yeah, I mean, doing.
Yeah. Well, there's never ending in the sense that there's always a lot to learn.
And like places to go
and places to go.
Yeah. And it's we've found there's this cool crossover between the music that we play and the surfing community. Which is really fun as well. Like we'll play a show this summer. Guys we met at the show were surfing the next day, and we went and met up with them. And so it's a cool overlap. Yeah, and just like immersion and fusion into a couple of different communities, which is really fun.
I would recommend trying it at your next local beach trip or whatever you go to.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of beaches here. We have the Ohio River.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah.
See, a little bit, I'm realizing the story. We all grew up landlocked, and that's kind of the beauty of it, is you don't have to be born on the beach to necessarily try it or do it. You can still love it. You know, there's like this great paradox, not to insult the climbing community, but the climbing community, I love them deeply.
They're crazy.
But they're like, yeah, like we're really inclusive, but it's a very, like, it's kind of a really cool ritualistic club too. But the best people you meet, and the same is with the surfing community too, but and music and so on.
It's like locals only, bro.
Yeah, it's like locals only. And so, but it's kind of like, hey, it's not trying to preach, but it's like a little bit of like bringing together.
Yeah.
You can be surfing, you can be musical, whatever you dig, we're down with, you know?
Yeah, I think that was well said.
Thanks, man.
So do you think that surfing helped you kind of with like creative burnout? Or how do you deal with burnout? Because I know we're all like in creative majors and burnout is very real.
Yeah.
It's hard to get through. So how do you guys work through that?
Burnout, you mean just like uninspired?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you know who Anthony Kiedis is? You know who the Red Hot Chili Peppers are?
Yes.
You know the singer. So the singer was just talking about, I heard him say it on the Zane Lowe podcast, so I'll give Anthony Kiedis a little shout out. But he's a surfer. And I don't imagine he's very good. I don't think he's like Jack Johnson, like an ex-pro surfer. But he was just talking about, even if you just paddle out and do nothing else, you went out and did something. And I think it's like the ultimate palate cleanser. And I think a lot of creatives probably have that, whether it be going on a walk or going on doing something to kind of cleanse the day and start fresh. And I think that's surfing is like that for all of us. Getting in the water and kind of getting out. You're not focusing. It's very like I've also heard something kind of akin to this is like when you hike, you get in the rhythm of stepping on the stones and just like you're not really thinking, you're just putting your feet and just like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it's like that. It's nice.
So having a little creative or athletic or something kind of outlet.
Yeah. And I personally love riding on the road. Not every song's like, this old highway, gas station sucks.
Yeah.
It's not, we haven't written like the Road album, but we've definitely, I definitely love being out here. And it's super inspiring and all the characters and everything. And spooky Airbnbs that Darby books in Colby, Kansas and all that stuff,
Yeah, burnout. I had an answer.
Okay, let's hear it.
That was a great one, Selby. I really identify with that. Yeah, sometimes I think you can do athletic activities, surfing, something meditative. But the other way to look at it, maybe as advice to y'all that I've taken from people is you treat it as your craft. And even if you don't want to do it that day, maybe sometimes don't. But the more you can show up and do it, the better you'll get at it. Yeah. And then the more on days that you'll have and body of work to whatever medium you're working in.
I totally second that. I was speaking of, we were talking about Taylor Swift earlier, and I was watching her Tiny Desk, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was so good. She's so talented. And
I haven't seen it yet.
She's just
I didn't know you were such a Swiftie. Brought up twice.
I just was curious about what she sounds like with an acoustic guitar in her room, and it was really good. And she can really play guitar and really sing. It was really good. Now, I know everybody's like, "Oh yeah, duh, dude, where have you been?" But like, it was really good. And she was talking about how the exact same thing. You show up for the work, and sometimes it happens, and sometimes it doesn't. But it can't happen if you don't do it. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
And that's a rider thing. Riders are always talking about that. Like they go into their cabin and like put the sheet out every day and drink coffee at 9:00 and work till 9:00.
Wow. So
long days.
That's awesome. Yeah.
In the cabins.
Yeah, in the woods.
Yeah. The metaphysical cabins.
Walden.
On the edge of the cliff with the sunset in the back.
The posters on the wall.
We're going to make one of those and send y'all a big poster for this room.
That would be so good.
Yeah.
It would brighten it up a
Would
lot.
y'all actually hang that up?
Yeah.
All right, we'll make it.
We got a good poster guy.
Yeah. Okay, good. Actually, I did want to ask who does your guys' graphics because your posters are all really good. And your website is really good too.
What about the lights?
It's led by Charlie, our drummer, who's not here.
Oh, okay.
He's actually picking up some merch right now. That's what he's doing. But he leads the designs. If not designs it, he leads the team in the design.
Okay.
So yeah, he's super talented, and we're so lucky to have him.
Where do you guys get your like visual style inspiration from?
For the art.
Yeah.
For that art or for the cover art?
Meaning
like the Spotify pictures and albums.
For both.
Well, I guess you and I do a lot of the Spotify stuff, the album stuff sometimes.
Yeah, it's all connected. I don't know. I have a little art history background from college and a little film background, so I really enjoy it. Like, that's my, maybe you put down the guitar, like the music for a second, and then I enjoy going and getting. Another great example of what we're talking about here is that someone was talking to David Bowie one time, and they were like, I didn't ask him about the music. I was such a fan. And this is a famous person. They were like, I didn't ask him about the music. Talked about everything else, like film, and he was like all over it. And so I really realized why that's cool is we have all these other interests that might like relax your brain, I think, and then allow you to like return to your craft. But that's a really roundabout way to answer that question. I don't know. We just love a lot of other album covers and art and just try to choose what fits the music.
Yeah. How do you get the like style for your music videos? Because it's all like pretty consistent, like very real and like organic. Is there a thought process or a reason behind that?
Yeah, low budget.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you said consistent because like commonalities I feel like can seem to us at least few and far between. But honestly, low budget.
It's your brother.
Brendan. Yeah, Brendan's been huge.
Darby's brother, Brendan, who doubles as a tour manager for us. He's not here with us right now, but he spent the first 2 weeks on tour with us, is a superb editor up in he lives up in Brooklyn and works in New York. And we've had the pleasure of having him help us out and edit a couple of videos. And he's edited pretty much all like, I don't know, probably 80% of the videos. Yeah.
Okay.
But another key thing is just like a really simple concept that can be done in a day, or ideally like we've messed around. Yeah, yeah. Or like we've messed around with just, okay, the limitation is it's got to be one shot.
Yeah.
And so we've done that a couple of times where
that's hard, right? One shot.
It's hard, like
usually
But then in post and editing, it's so easy because it's already done.
Yeah.
It's one shot.
Yeah.
So that can be fun. Those creative limitations can produce some pretty ripe, fun fruits.
Okay. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. I was going to say, too, I recently read this Rick Rubin book, which is super great. And I feel like every artist has read it recently. But he, a cool prospect he proposes is that, like, everything in life is art, and it really can be. Like, everything is an opportunity for a creative intention or act. And in that way, you can kind of just, like, dance through life as though it is a play that you're making or that someone else is writing and you're participating in. But everything is an opportunity for that.
Like this interview is classic.
It's also art. Everything is art.
It is.
Which I think is pretty like, Rick Rubin.
I mean, y'all created a great space with like the lighting and just, I mean, y'all done a terrific job.
We tried, yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you guys met in Tennessee, right? And did you all go to the same college?
We did. We went to Sewanee in Tennessee.
Okay, it's a small school.
It's very small. Yeah. It's 1,700 people.
Okay.
On the side of a mountain in Tennessee. I guess on top, technically, a plateau. But we did finish. We kind of met towards the end of college.
Okay.
Like by the time we kind of really had started, like we met and then started writing music, and there was a serious opportunity to play our original music at this college just because people were down to have a good time and, listen to us play.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so it really inspired us to keep on going. And so, by that point we had finished and went to Nashville and recorded these songs that we had written. And that was kind of the impetus to keep the band going. And that's how it all started.
So since it was such a small school, were you like well known around campus as a band?
Yeah, you couldn't even walk through the cafeteria without
That's
people.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. No, it was it was really cool. I mean, we were not celebrities.
You kind of know everyone at the school.
Yeah, you definitely do.
It's real small.
I guess it's pretty different from here.
Yeah.
The music thing, we went to Sewanee. At Sewanee that I found was opened up every, like if you're on the football team, you're like, yeah, I'm on the football team, and like those are my friends. Or if you're on the, I don't know, what's another club that's the opposite of the football
Skydiving
team?
club.
Skydiving club.
Okay.
We don't have that. I don't. Do you guys have one?
I don't think we do.
Indoor skydiving. Shout out to the guy. No, but it was super inspiring that people from all different clubs were like cool with you. They were like, yeah, you're doing music. And that was where I was like, this thing is super magical and connects people. I mean, did y'all feel that way? I mean, it was amazing.
Totally.
Like the climbers, who I secretly didn't. I'm just joking. Yeah, the climbers liked me. Not that it's anything.
Everyone liked Webb.
Not that it's anything about liking me.
He was so cool. He played guitar. It was great.
Not about liking. Just like being like cool with and like down to understand and like hear you out and vice versa.
And it's also an opportunity to like, there were fraternities at Swanee. It was kind of like it was a part of the social scene, I'd say.
Yeah.
And it was all pretty inclusive, but it was a way to like deep dive, like immerse into another organization that you might otherwise never really get to know.
Yeah.
Because you're putting on the party for their fall prom or something. Yeah.
There's like two different worlds colliding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What were your guys' majors in college?
That was going to be the other thing I was maybe going to bring up is none of us studied music. And so maybe that's why we do it now. I don't know. But a lot of people go to school, not to say that this is what you are doing, but like they get so, like, Belmont's that big music school in Nashville. And we're working with a producer who I always tell people, he's this guy who went to Belmont and got really good. And he actually stuck with it. And like, because there's so many other things that are the business side of it that I'm sure they probably like teach you in school. And maybe that's why they're like, oh, this is not what I thought it'd be. My point is that a lot of people study it. And you'll see this as y'all graduate. Some people will not use their major because they got like tired of it or something. Yeah. And they do the opposite thing, which is totally cool. Or some people stick with it. It's just everyone's journey is different. But yeah, these guys studied econ and I studied English and Spanish.
Yeah.
Business guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the T-shirts are priced perfectly.
Okay. Good to know.
Economically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, how do you think the environment of Nashville affected your guys' sound or identity, or did it?
What were you gonna say, Selby?
It was just a place where we recorded. We have a half brother, who's a big influence on us, and also the band, and he was that's where he lives, and that's where we went and did pre-production for a couple days before we got in the studio, and we've actually have an album that we're about to put out. That's finishing right now, and we've gone back to Nashville our friend who we've spent a lot of time there. It's kind of like our little second home.
Yeah.
But there's more music there than just country music.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think your music has evolved from the beginning to now? In any way?
By God, I hope so. No, yeah, I totally think it has.
Okay, how so?
I think we've gotten closer to saying what we want to say through songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Songs are interesting because, you say that now, but you can look at some of y'all's older songs before I was with y'all and then be like, and just look at them through the new lens that you know about now and be like, man, I really said it well that time.
Yeah, that's totally true too.
So it's weird. It's all recording is just kind of like a time capsule. But there's so much meaning in that time capsule, what you put into it.
Yeah. That,
maybe we don't, but the person who digs it up and finds it has their own meaning that they bring to it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good analogy.
That is good. Do you look back on it and you hear it and you're like, I was a different person back then? Does it make you feel things like that?
Slightly.
Yeah, totally. I think it also reminds me of, oh wow, that was a cool thought, or I can't believe that was on my mind. I'd say it was like the first album, and those songs just were so like raw and just emergent out of us that it was like not even a second thought. And we went and recorded the album, and it was just like what it was in 3 days. We recorded it. Yeah. And now it's like we have an opportunity to like more finely tune the craft, and which offers a whole lot of creative possibility and which is really fun. And I think this new project we're working on now is a little more dialed in, and I think we're rediscovering kind of that raw energy and the what originally made writing and recording so much fun in the first album. I think we're rediscovering that a little bit.
It's kind of like the editing process was shorter the first time. Yeah. And the trick now for us is we still keep that raw, like, inspiring moment, capture that, and then that's kind of the basis. And then the trick to that is don't edit the life out of it. But if your edits are good, do that, but don't edit the life out of it. Yeah. And so it's this, and everyone has a different opinion on that. And so it's this collective, how can we make this song the best song or the album the best album and represent what we want to say?
It is a tricky line. It's a tricky line to walk.
And it's hard because if we're listening to it a ton, we're like disoriented from the first time. And so, you take a break, you go surfing or whatever.
That's why you have a producer. You have a fifth man. Or woman.
So, we have some questions about some songs that you guys have written. Your song Daddy Daughter. On YouTube, it says in the description, it was written after hanging out with my friend's girlfriend's grandmother. What is the story behind that?
We're in the Midwest. We can say anything.
Oh, is that? Oh, yeah. There's this great place on Folly Beach, which is the surf beach in Charleston, called Chico Feo. And they have these drinks called Samurai Slings. And they're sake and like lemonade. Very good. Very, very good. Just
long pause after it.
A recommendation.
I was like, do I need to go into how I'm actually not drinking right? Anyway, sorry, long story. She's just a character. It's our manager's girlfriend's grandmother who's just a fan, and she's just a character. And she was buying us drinks all night. We were just having a great time, and it's this little outdoor kind of you feel like you're in kind of a little jungle, and it's cool. And I don't know. I just was really like feeling inspired by friendship, and I don't think the song necessarily has to do with that, but it just like that night inspired me a lot to like write. And I remember getting up the next morning and writing the song, or like lyrically writing the song.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a cool contrast because we were meeting these people. Well, you're meeting this person's grandmother, and it's like that's just a version, or their granddaughter, who we know, is just a version of her in this weird way. And so it's like you're looking at this like genetic makeup of these two people, and it's like I think that influences it, right? Kind of the trip between that of
that's good extrapolation, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. Have y'all ever felt that way about like meeting your friend's parents or grandparents or?
Yeah. You're like, you're exactly like your mom or your dad.
Yeah. Lyrically, I was putting myself in the shoes of a friend of ours and just feeling like what it feels like to walk into the rock club. And like, it's a small, like Charleston's a city, but it's also pretty like tightly knit, and it's like just this feeling of walking in the rock club and kind of having like, certain expectations and all those kind of things. But yeah.
When you're writing about like a person that you've met, do you try to like abstract them with lyrics, or do you just not think about it like that?
I recently, one of my favorite artists, just said the name, like straight up. They just say the name of the person, which I think is so cool. I don't no. I don't. I mean, I don't know if I've really blatantly ever said anything super. I don't know. What would you say, Darby? I'll turn this one over to you.
I don't, but I don't not do it intentionally.
Yeah.
I think it's like a name works and like, or it just is what I'm singing and like, it's like, oh, that's it. And then that's about a person I love or I know. And it's, it just so happens that it's a different name.
Okay. You guys mentioned that you were in Charleston. Is there a difference between, like a shift in your music making when you were in Nashville to Charleston?
Yeah. So the arc of it was kind of like the first one was in Nashville, but that was mainly influenced by their college days. Like that album it screams like that campus that, I mean, it's like this, rural 13,000 acre campus. There's like neo-Gothic cathedrals running around. It's a really but it's in this, it's like on what's known as a plateau, which makes it like, it gives it kind of like a New England-y feel, but it still has like that southern weirdness kind of strange thing going on. So that's really that album, I feel like. If I wasn't even a part of that album, by the way. And I was in my teens. And anyway, point being is then the next stuff was in Charleston. That's pretty like, watery, inspired by like those things Selby was talking about. And Daddy Daughter and all those things. And then for this latest one, it's not even announced, but that's when we went back to Nashville. And we really went to a bunch of different locations to record it. And I think that helped us because we'd spent like the previous year in a studio where we'd go in and it would just be like, it would feel just not sterile, but it would just feel like we had kind of been there. It felt like going to work.
It totally felt like that.
It felt like going to work.
And like all my home problems were like always there. Like, just like, we're doing this at 8:00, and it was like, we were on fire. It's like, dude, there was this constant like,
oh, you got to go walk your dog.
Yeah, like there was this constant deal. And
like when you go back home and your parents are like, where are you going? We're eating dinner at 6:00.
The same thing, thing. So we got away for this last one.
But an adult version.
Yeah.
So the environment's really important to your songwriting, music making process then?
Always.
I totally think so.
Okay.
Totally think so.
The other song that we really liked was All Right. And then something that we thought was really cool was the line, I'll be your pet, I'll be your peeve. And like the way it goes down and it goes back up.
Oh, yeah. Darby?
What's the story behind that one?
Between that and that line?
Yeah.
I thought it was just a funny line. It was like, we already said if you ever want to leave, it's like, it's kind of this idea that I'll be whatever you want me to be. It's like, I'll be your pet, which is a crazy idea.
Yes.
And then I'll be your peeve. It's like, well, I'll be your pet peeve. Like, I'll always be on your mind, kind of tickling the back of your brain and being a reminder.
Are there any things, like any lines or songs that stick out amongst like the audience? They're like, we love it. And then when they tell you that, you're like, I don't like it that much, but it's like shocking to you.
That's a great question.
There was some fan the other day, which I've never seen this, but they had a bracelet that said, I'm looking for a pair of shoes, which is pretty awesome. And then someone else mentioned that line. I think they were like into fashion. So it was like, they love shoes.
Yeah.
Thrifting. So I've had a few times
That's from Steady and Vertigo, one of our songs.
Yeah.
That's the first line. And it's hilarious because it's this big build up and it's like dun, 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 and it's like silence. And Darby's like, I'm looking for a pair of shoes. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah. It's hilarious.
It's kind of a funny line. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's some in Daddy Daughter.
Those were all such great. Those were just group. Those last couple questions were great.
Brilliant.
And Darby, I've never even realized that line. Yeah, that's a great line, man.
It's a good line.
It's a good one. Do you guys, is it weird to you when fans come up to you and just like say, "Oh my God, I love you so much." Is that like a shock to you, or is it normal now, or?
I don't even buy it.
What?
I know. I mean, it's strange. It's like, I mean, it's really new, and it's because it is like like it started as family and friends who are like, yeah, support you, sure, thumbs up. But now it seems to be bleeding into a greater world, and it's like, that's wild.
I welcome it. I welcome it at all times. These guys joke that I need constant positive affirmation.
That's okay.
But
that's his love language, constant. Well, I joke with the guys that there's 2 eras of Easy Honey. The pre-fan has a tattoo era, and the post-fan has a tattoo era of the band. And we're in the post, I'm happy to say. And it's not someone who's like our friend. They have no reason to like us. It's just they saw us and have seen us a couple times. And
true.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, and like, we started touring in January of last year and kind of like actually started having fans, I guess, like the summer of last year, where they're like, you really starting to recognize that it's not even your, friend's cousin or something. It's just they've seen you or heard about you or, saw your music online or whatever. But we're just kind of growing that. And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One show at a time. I think you could. I don't know if it came across in the movie, but a little bit of the point of the movie is that one night you're playing a show to 800 people or 900 people, and the next night, you might be playing a show to 8 people.
Yeah.
And it's a grind, and everyone more or less goes through it. Whether it's a writer or whatever you guys are doing with y'all's artistic visions, but. That's it. That's the great wave that we're all on, the ups and downs.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you hope fans get from your music?
Yes. I hope that they find I hope they feel something. I hope they can be introspective, and it's the same thing that, that music does for me. It's a kind of a place of escape and
or a place of the greatest inward looking and not escape. It's like, hey, this is me. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And you had said another question earlier that made me think about it, but like, do y'all listen to those songs where you actually have a tear in your eyes or you get goosebumps?
Yes.
That's what I'm after, and I think we strive for as a band is going to that place ourselves, and that hoping someone else can feel that way, because that is such a rewarding, like, it's a big world, and when you have those moments, you're like, I'm here. It's my story. It's my life, but I'm sharing it with everyone else, and even if it's one person, it's a really beautiful thing. Be present.
So being present and like being in the moment and being real is really important to you, would you say?
It's tough, but it really is. Darby, you're probably the most in the present. I kind of ride the line of, and I never even live in the present. I'm always living in the future and the past.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But Darby lives in the present. And I'm not proud of that. It's not a happy statement.
What does it mean to you to like be in the present in today's world where there's like so much social media and just like being oversaturated all the time? How do you feel about balancing the two?
I've found like a lot of value in and ability to access that presence in like stillness and just finding space. And that brings about an inherent like openness to everything. Because in stillness, there's nothing. So it's just like everything is accessible from there, which allows you to respond and not react. And that's always good if you're, bringing your mind into the situation and acting on that as opposed to reacting.
Sounds so peaceful. So nice.
But yeah, social media is like, that's constantly taking you out of that and all those different distractions.
It's a good and a bad thing, especially if like you're trying to get your name out, right? So it's like a necessary evil.
But it's also a tool. It's the craziest thing. Like, people discover us on there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's just we're in that period of that's not a great thing to say. We're always changing, and we're kind of coming to grips with that world. Everyone is, and just figuring out how to navigate it healthfully. Mm-hmm. And it's just about figuring out what works for you.
Yeah, so looking into the future, how are you guys feeling about your West Coast tour 2024?
Is that from FUBAR? Or do you just take that? Oh, that's hilarious. Hell yeah.
Well, stoked.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty fun. We might go to Nicaragua. We might go to Hawaii. That's in the talks. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely want to do another surf tour. It just it was so great. Excuse me. It was so great last time, and I think we all connect with the natural world. Mm-hmm. And Darby was a sustainability major, and giving and some form of service is something that I think any good organization does. Mm-hmm. And I just want to keep that present, with our group.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, we look forward to hearing music in the future, and maybe you'll come out with a second documentary for the West Coast tour.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you guys for coming in. It was really nice to talk to you. Are there any last words, anything you want to plug?
No, really. Hats off to y'all.
Maddie, thanks. That was wonderful.
This is a pleasure.
Thank you.
You're pro.
Thanks to everyone working on it.
Yeah, thank y'all.
All right.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys.